This video is for the people who have a half-finished novel under their beds. The people who are stuck in revision hell. Anyone who has been saying that they want to finish their novel, but they're struggling to get back into it because they have spent some time away. Whether you've taken a break from your novel because of illness, or because you took a vacation, or because you just weren't feeling it anymore, this video is about how to get back to your story, how to dive back in, how to rediscover the joy, how to set yourself up for success. You have everything you need to finish your novel, and I'm going to take you through the steps that I have used to get back to a project after an extensive time away. My name is Valerie Geary. This is the Book Nook. I am a writer of mystery and suspense novels. I have published both traditionally and independently. I have spent my life building a creative practice, and on this channel, I share parts of that creative life to inspire yours. It is that time of year where people are bringing their colds, bringing their germs to work, and I caught a really nasty bug. I didn't want to do anything creative for like 2 weeks. My brain was running at like 30% of itself, and it felt very strange to be in this place where there were things that I was wanting to do during those 2 weeks that I was sick, but I could not do them. It was a time that I needed to rest, and so I did about 2 weeks of absolutely nothing. I read a lot of books. I took it easy on myself. I watched The Good Place, which I had not seen before, and which was a very good show to watch while I wasn't feeling good. The timing of this illness was just really bad for me because I was starting to prep for October, for my writing season. I love to write in the fall and winter, and it had been a long time since I worked on a novel, and I was wanting to prep for that season, for that writing season. That didn't happen. I spent 2 weeks thinking about how I wish I could have been prepping for my novel. But here's the thing, there's no point in getting frustrated or beating yourself up, especially if you're going through an illness or going through something difficult in your life. If you're going through something where you need time, it is okay to take time. It is okay to not work on your novel every day. It is okay if you need to take a break. But if you are ready to get back into it, if you are ready to dive in deep with your book again, here are some steps that are going to help you get there. The first thing is to organize your materials. Gather everything that is related to your novel, any notes, any note cards, any drafts or partial drafts, anything you have been researching, any little napkins that you've drawn in a restaurant, if you have books checked out from the library that you were going to read as part of your research, anything that you may have in a Word document or Google Doc or Scrivener, anything related to your novel project. And we are talking about novels that you have been working on before. So for instance, the novel that I'm going to be working on, I had worked on it all of last year. For several months, I got a first draft done, and I was diving into the second draft when I kind of put a stop on it, when I put a hold, and I stepped away from it for a good 2 to 3 months. A lot of that time I spent working on other creative projects, other short stories, and then there was the 2 weeks where I got sick, and now I'm like, what am I going to do with this book? I know I want to go back to it, but I don't remember what was going on. I don't remember what my plan was. And so the first step is to gather those materials. Gather them, organize them, look through them, refamiliarize yourself with what you were doing on the novel before you left it. The next step is to make a plan. You have your materials, so now look through them. Read through drafts if you want to, or just skim. Read through your note cards, refamiliarize yourself with your characters, with your plot, with your world, with what you were planning on doing, and then decide, what are you going to keep? What are you going to throw out? What may be missing? What do you need to research further? Is there outlining that needs to be done, or further character development that you need to dive into? You may find, as you're reacquainting yourself with your material, that you're farther along than you thought you were. Or, like me, you might decide to keep 3, 4, maybe 5 things from your first draft, scrap the rest, and start all over from the beginning. Whatever plan you decide on, the next step is to set your goals. You have an idea now of what needs to be done on the book, of where you want to go, of what you want to add or subtract from your novel, of the work that still needs to be done before you can say it's finished. You know now the direction that you're headed, and so now you need a plan on how to get there. And goals can be overwhelming. I certainly understand the overwhelming feeling that can come from setting a goal that's like a year from now, but go ahead and set a big long-term goal. I'm going to finish writing this book. That is the main goal. That is the big overarching goal that I am headed towards. And then I'm going to kind of walk myself backwards to more manageable, achievable daily, weekly, monthly goals, things that I can track and see progress on, things that will motivate me to keep moving towards that larger goal. Write them down where you can see them. Maybe that's in a notebook, maybe it's on your whiteboard, maybe it's on a sticky note above your desk, something that will remind you to return to your novel every day, to touch that creative place, to revisit those characters, to, if even for 15 minutes a day, say, hey, I'm here, I'm working on my project. Figuring out how to be successful with goals, one of the ways to do that is to figure out what your minimally achievable goal is. Minimally achievable, that is a hard phrase to say. I call them cozy goals. These are the goals that you know you can hit every day. So this isn't a big, I'm gonna write 1,000 words a day, I'm gonna write 3,000 words a day. This is a small goal. Something that can fit into your very busy schedule. So for me, I have a corporate job. I have to work about 8 hours a day for somebody else. I have to sleep. I have to make sure I'm taking care of my health. And so with all of these things, what is my minimally achievable goal? What is the cozy goal? It can be time-based, it can be word count based, but what is the smallest number that I know I can achieve every single day? I think 500 words a day is going to be my minimally achievable goal, my cozy goal, until the book is finished. And maybe that doesn't seem like much, but 500 words every day, you can get a 100,000 word book written in less than a year. My long-term goal for this book project, since I'm basically starting over from the beginning, I do have a lot of good base laid, so I'm not starting fully from scratch, but basically I am. I'm not in any kind of editing or revision stage at this point. I am generating new content, I'm generating new plot lines and new characters and new ways of them interacting together. And so I think for that, based on what my life is like right now, I want to give myself plenty of time. And so my long-term goal is going to be to have a solid draft finished by June of 2025. That's 8 months. I know that a lot of times in the writing community, especially the indie publishing community, we can talk a lot about writing fast and getting several books out a year. And I say, if you can do that, great. Keep doing that. Also teach me what your secret is. But if you're not able to do that, because maybe you're not able to write full time, or maybe you have other hobbies, other things that you enjoy doing, you have other responsibilities, you have health issues, you just cannot possibly write as quickly as some of your friends are writing, I want to tell you that's okay. It's okay to take time with your story. It's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to give your story space and to give yourself time to develop the story that you want to write. I do think that when you are in the middle of writing a novel, it is important to commit to it and to work on it as much as possible, as often as possible in that initial stage, in the kind of creating stage when you are drafting a new draft, or if you are into heavy revisions. I think it's important to come to that book, return to it several times a week if possible. It will help with momentum. You won't have to go back and remember what you were trying to do before. You've already set yourself up to be excited about what you're working on. You don't necessarily have to meet your word count every day, but maybe just checking in, touching base, looking at your story, maybe spending 10 minutes with it, maybe one sentence is all you get, but you're touching it every day. And then on the days that you have more time, you're able to get into a flow and get a lot of words done. And so that's, I think, why I'm saying 500 words a day average, 3,500 words a week, which feels very doable for me right now. I think that I will exceed that number. Remember, we are looking for minimally achievable goals, something that will make you feel successful. This is supposed to be an enjoyable experience. Creation should be pleasurable. So if you are setting goals that are too much for you, that you aren't achieving, you're just going to be frustrated by that, and you're going to take longer breaks, longer and longer breaks, and you're going to find yourself stepping away from the book for too long, and you're going to have to go back to step one of gathering your materials before you can get started again. Set achievable goals for yourself, something that feels right, and it may not look like anyone else's goals. You may feel like you're falling behind. You're not. You're absolutely not. You are right on time. You have your materials, you have your plan, you have your goals set and what you want to try and accomplish. Next, go ahead and claim your space. Pick an area that feels good to you. Set it up to be cozy or set it up to be inspirational. For me, that is my office, and I need to do some deep cleaning with it because it is a mess right now, and When my office is a mess, my creative flow does not happen as easily. If you already have a space and it just needs cleaning, get in there and get it clean. Maybe your space is outside your home. It's a favorite coffee shop that you have. Pick something, 1 or 2 places where you can return to every day as you start working on your novel. These places will be a trigger to your brain that it is time to get to work and time to get into the flow. Make it a space that you want to come to. Make it a space that you're excited to be in. Next, protect your time. If you already know what time of day is your best creative time, carve out 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 2 hours if you have it. Carve out space during your most creative time of the day to work on your novel and protect it fiercely. Do not schedule anything else during this time. Don't worry about chores, about the dishes that need to get done during this time. Tell your family, tell your friends that you're going to be unavailable for an hour while you work on your novel. Close the door if you have one. Protect the time. Set yourself up for success by putting up a do not disturb sign. Put your phone away. Turn off the internet. Put up a freedom app. Disconnect from social media. Make sure you're setting yourself up to get into a creative flow. And that does mean shutting out the world, because you are building a world on the page. You are building a world in your head, and you can't have the noise of the outside world in messing things up. I would say a bonus tip is to find a friend who can encourage you. Find a friend who can be an accountability partner. Someone who you can turn to when things are getting difficult again, when you are feeling like giving up. Somebody who will say, hey, I remember how excited you were about this book last year. I remember how excited you were about this book last week. You need to keep going. I know how much this means to you. I know how much these characters mean to you. Keep going. Finally, you're ready. It's time. Get to work. You have everything you need to finish your novel. Leave a little pencil emoji if you're going to be writing a novel this fall and this winter. If you are going to finally finish that novel, if you are getting back to your creative self, let me know in the comments. I want to make sure that you have somebody cheering for you. So I am doing all these steps currently for my novel project, which I am about to embark on in the next week or so, and I'm going to be sharing that project with all of you here in the book nook, and I look forward to sharing more of my journey and more of my creative process with you. I hope you find something useful here. I hope you leave feeling inspired. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.